The word honor is one of those words that you may run into in different kinds of contexts. For me personally, the one that I find most relevant is the one that has to do with honoring your parents, for instance. That's the one that I can say sticks to me the most, but I can also extend it to how I am at work. Even though my manager is pretty much close to me in age, and most of the squad, in fact, my entire management squad is around my age, with me being older than maybe two of them, I can't help but think, you know what? I like to honor those people too, because I look at them as an extension of my parents. Of course, they're there to evaluate my performance and to take care of the department. I can't help but look at it as the way parents try to do things with us too. Manage the home, manage your siblings. At work, it would be managing my coworkers. And I know that people don't like to say work is family. And I understand why, because work is work and we are coworkers. We're not exactly family. But when you think about it, with the amount of time that some of us spend in that place, inevitably bonds are going to form. Some are going to be good, some are going to be bad, or maybe not bad, but some may be just neutral. You're neither pro nor con. Honor these days is something that I really don't hear discussed. I do feel like it gets manifested, but I'm not entirely sure anymore how people go about it, because maybe it has fallen out of the priority list. Maybe it's just not something that comes as an inherent part of your package as a human. So let me get into some descriptions. For instance, when a loved one has their day marked on their calendar for them not being here, for instance, my grandfather, every June the 18th, I remember that he passed on that day back in 2005. I try to remember him and remember things that he told me, things that we did together, things that he would do for me. And I also remember the things that he would eat. And in some instances, I'm like, oh, what I'm eating today, granddaddy would have loved. Something like that. I feel like that is an example of honoring somebody. And some years, I don't do this every year, but sometimes I light up a candle too. There are a couple of pictures in the house where he's in. I also try to experience a little bit of what his favorite things might have been. Even though I'm not a good carpenter, for example, I've never really built anything in my life that I can put my name to. At least I like to be like, since granddaddy was a carpenter, what is a carpenter? What do they do? What is it like? And then I look up that kind of content and I'm like, yeah, mad respect. But no matter what happens, I established that day to have a moment dedicated to him, because I like to make it about him. Now, another version of honor that I like to describe as currently the most relevant, the most impactful outside of the inherent family stuff that I just described, is pretty much expressing appreciation and a form of kind of like a begging type of thing. But I don't know the word that I'm looking for this instance, but you guys will understand. Basically, when something is expressed with a please and accompanied by a thank you. The few times that I get to run customer service and be in charge of the squad too, because say our supervisors have to be away for something and they pick somebody to be in charge, and given that I'm a veteran, I get selected pretty often. I understand that I don't have the job or the title of an authority figure. I like to treat that opportunity as, how would I express myself? How would I manifest if I had the role? And one of the things that I noticed about me is that when I'm getting ready to ask somebody to do something, even if it's part of their job, but I gotta place it a little higher in their priority list. I like to phrase my instructions as, I'm gonna make up someone's name. Joe, would you please go outside and get us some carts? The foyer is starting to run low and we're getting ready to get busy. It would be best to have them collected already, something like that. And then when Joe says, yeah, of course, I'll be like, thank you so much. I'm not saying that my other supervisors don't do that, but sometimes, I guess, in the midst of the rush and things, it may be phrased with a little more dominance, with a little more assertion. And I'm not saying that I'm sensitive to that because I understand that, hey, we're getting swarmed, we gotta react and all that. But I hate that sometimes, depending on the circumstance, those manners may fly out the window. With me personally, when we're getting destroyed at customer service, I don't care who it is coming up to me from my squad. I'm always like, hey, would you please give me one more second? I'm in the middle of something. I'm not gonna forget about you. Thank you. I noticed that about me, that a lot of the things that I request in person when we're at work and it's placing a burden on someone, it doesn't matter what kind of burden it is, I'm always like, please and thanks. That is regardless of the circumstance that surrounds me, whether we're being paid or not being paid. I find that sometimes people don't really phrase things like that, and I feel like the impact is a little different. It's different when someone tells me, will you go grab me some bags? And then you just say thanks, but you don't say the please. For some reason, I find that better for my psyche when someone goes, would you please do da 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 da, as opposed to, would you do da 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 da, and then say thank you. At least you say thank you. Or if you don't say thank you when you go, would you please grab us bags from the back? When you say it like that, it's like, okay, you're my superior, whatever, I don't have any problem with that. When I come back, when you say the thanks, it's like, oh, okay, great, I'm being appreciated. But I think that expressing appreciation slightly more often makes a difference. So if you say, would you please get the bags from the back? Thank you. As I'm walking away, that's like already planting the seed of, oh, I'm being valued. And when I come back and you see that I did what you requested of me, and you say, thanks again, I don't know, that just helps me feel some type of way that it's super good, super better. Because I get that feeling, I like to express that to other people. And I have observed that for some reason, people seem to be more relaxed around me. And sometimes, even though I actively try to stay away from groups, eventually there's someone who like detaches from the group to come over to me. And usually when they come over to me, they're looking for advice. There's a part of me that wonders exactly how did I earn that, and exactly when did I earn that from this person. Was it my consistency? Was it the way that I speak to them? Was it the way that I asked something of them and the way I reacted when they returned? This topic is one of those weird ones that really doesn't have like a... The purpose of it is to just express how I conduct myself in a setting in which I depend on other people being willing to do things for me, but also the feeling of just talking about honor, because I feel like character traits and values like that that don't have a, I guess, monetary value attached to it is something that we're really not discussing often. And if we do discuss it, we're discussing how it is that people don't do it or don't show it, and how, well, the older generation was raised better. And I'm thinking to myself, well, what about me as a modern person am I doing that may reflect on those olden values that we keep craving and begging for and expressing that we miss and we need, but when we go out in public, say grocery shopping, and we have to deal with customer service or be customer serviced because we had a bad experience with a product or something, then we lose that shit. We got upset. Like, I'll never forget my meltdown at T-Mobile. Even though I was mad, the first thing I did was say, hey, I'm going to sound upset and annoyed, and it's because of the way this is affecting my life. Please don't take it personal. It's not at you. I just need to do something with the energy that I have, and I need to express the seriousness of the situation, and I'll be very firm. If I have a firm tone, something is up. That's not me. Usually I like to be all bright and bubbly and all that shit. But when I have like my alto vocal range is coming out, you know something is happening. When I'm affected and it involves my money to an extent, then that will always have a sense of urgency. That will always have an urgent tone. But as soon as all of that is over, I always let the person know, like that person at T-Mobile on the phone. I was like, thanks so much for everything that you did. I'm incredibly pleased. And other times I would ask something like, oh, while we're at this, would you please check what my status is with my current plan? Because I keep getting this email and I thought that I had selected this service, but I still haven't seen it up to date. And when they go, yeah, I can check on that right away, I'm like, thank you. And then once they check and they go like, okay, blah, 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 do you wish to do this and that? I'm like, yes, please. See what I mean? So even if I'm mad, like spitting angry, somehow my courtesy does not leave. I wish that I had better control over, I guess, my rage, because my rage is the result of me being offended that you're taking something from me but you're not delivering your end of the bargain, then that is just something that I'm not proud of. But there's also the part of me that I am proud that even though I go feral, at least I retain that basic level of decency. I just wish to get better from that and point out that when I get mad, I'm not proud that I'm mad. I wish it didn't have to get that bad. Sometimes I feel like projecting that annoyance is necessary sometimes because, sure, I may be someone who's relaxed and calm all the time, but there is a beast inside me, just like there is inside everybody. There's no need to deny it. And if that's the worst that you're gonna get from me, I think we're good. I'm not out here destroying property or hurting people. I thought I would ramble about that and see what you guys have to say. If you have ever experienced a great expression of honor, or you yourself has performed acts of honor, let me know. Share it with me. And if you can and are willing to, let me know what line of work that happened, or if you were being a parent, if you were being a soldier, if you were being a sister, a brother, whatever it is that you had at the time, whatever role you had at the time where you expressed them. I'm really interested to see.
And thank you.